At the beginning of every year, I usually do a video. It's like the 10 biggest things that I learned last year on YouTube. However, this year I want to do things a little bit differently. Got a dog barking, but we're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that I've made on YouTube and how I'm going to do things moving forward this year. Now, this is wild. This is all green, and it just grew in the last couple weeks because California's been getting so much rain, but this is normally just brown and bare. So like, it looks like we're in a completely different place with the way that the rain has been hitting this area lately. The first mistake really is being reactionary versus planning things out. And this is something that I'm sure many of you have fallen into the trap of, and that's where you're making videos based on whatever the best idea is at that moment. You know, for this channel, because I've covered a lot of gear, it's always like, oh, this new camera's coming out, I gotta make a video on it. Or, you know, this is happening with DJI, I gotta make a video on it. And it's like I come up with the idea and then I go and make the video versus having more of a plan that I will execute over time. The reason that this is a mistake is that if I don't plan things out, if I'm just being reactive, then I'm only kind of grabbing at what I'm kind of paying attention to at that time. And there's a lot of projects that end up on the back burner. So I have multiple videos that I've shot that I've just never edited because I've never put it into a specific time that I'm gonna actually work on it. I had a video at the end of last year, full documentary, where I went to the Eastern Sierras with Jake Sloan and Levi Allen, and we shot with a bunch of different products. I destroyed my Mavic 4 Pro, and that project has just been sitting on the back burner. That's just the most recent one. I have a trip that I did in Rwanda a couple years ago where I did some videos here on the channel, but I never really did the full trip breakdown and the story about what happened when we were there shooting a documentary. I have another one where I went up to Alaska and same thing. So I have these different stories that I've told, and instead of, you know, spending time and actually taking the time that I need to edit these and put them on my schedule, I've just kind of been ping-ponging from the one video to the next, to the next, to the next. And I never really take a step back and work on a plan of things that I want to do. This year, I started working on that plan. And I already have like months of content planned out if I was to follow through with this exact plan that I've already kind of crafted. There's only so much time as creators, especially when you're doing the shooting, editing, and, you know, everything else. So it really is important, and this is, I'm telling myself here, to take a step back and create a plan, because you can't do everything. You want to execute on the things that matter and that are going to push you towards like a specific goal that you have for your channel versus like just kind of being reactionary to whatever's going on in the world. It's just not the way I necessarily want to operate, and it's forced me to put a lot of projects on the back burner that I should have edited a long time ago. I mentioned this kind of in the last mistake, but the next one is not having like a clear goal of what I'm doing with the channel and just making a bunch of content and kind of like, you know, doing formats that I know work and kind of just making videos going forward. But having a clear goal is kind of important, like super important. Like, you need to know where you're going. Back when I was sub 1 million subscribers on this channel, my goal was like, hit 1 million subscribers, get that play button. It wasn't the initial goal, but when I was getting higher in the numbers, that was like a big goal. That became like something where I put a lot of effort into it. And I know as soon as I hit that goal, it was like celebration, hit the 1 million. And then there was just kind of like this slump of like, well, what's next? Like, what's the next objective with the goal? But I think YouTube channels in general need to have a different goal around them. Whether that's like a personal goal or a business goal, like there's got to be something that you're aiming towards. And it can't just be making content. Like, your goal is not just to make content. I think you need to have something that's more of your North Star that helps you have a reason to why you're making all of this. And this might take some soul searching to really figure out. You might have to dig deep to like, what is it that you want to do with this whole YouTube thing? And why are you going to put all this time and effort into it? Because it's not easy doing YouTube. Like, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. This is a full-time job if you're making videos consistently. If you don't have this clear goal and you don't have like your objective, you just start doing things and you start trying different things and you start putting your time in all these different places, and you know, it might just waste a lot of your time. You know, where's that lighthouse that I'm pointing towards, that I'm trying to get to shore? Where is the mountain that I'm trying to climb? Like, what is that goal now? And then start catering all the content to kind of be working towards that goal versus working against it. Check this out. This Peak Design tripod. I did a video about this. This is that new Pro one. However, they just came out with this like video head. So this just snaps on. I know this is a little bit of a tangent for some of you if you're not interested in this tripod, but this tilt head just snaps on to the ball head. Wasn't gonna make a whole video about this, but I figured I'd mention it here because you have your normal tripod, but then you have this tilt head. So now this Peak Design Pro travel tripod is a full-fledged video tripod with like a handle that extends and everything. It's pretty cool. Now, the third mistake that I've made on my channel was actually starting a second channel and like not being realistic with my time. When I started the second channel, I thought I needed to have these two different channels. I started this back in 2020. I needed to have the channel here, which teaches filmmaking, goes over gear, all of that. The second channel was stories. So it's actually practicing what I preach. And that channel, I've actually grown to like 270,000 subscribers. Like that channel started going. But the issue is, the mistake that I made here is that I just wasn't realistic with my time, my goals, and the other things that we've been talking about in this video. Because having two channels is like having two full-time jobs. Like, both of them require a ton of attention, a ton of work. You got to put so much effort into just making content for one channel that then when you start duplicating that, your workload quadruples because you just have all this other stuff that you got to do on top of making videos. And I do this all solo. So if I was to start building a team around this channel or that channel, then it might make more sense to do that, but it just wasn't something that I was planning to do. I wasn't planning to build out a big team to make all these videos and start scaling up in that way. I've seen a lot of creators make multiple channels, and I've seen a lot of creators talking about this, you know, needing to have these different outlets. And I think one of the biggest things here is, instead of trying to go after all of these different ideas, is pick the one that you're most interested in. Pick the, you know, channel that you really want to create. Figure out what that goal is, what that brand is, what the audience is, and just put everything into that trajectory versus trying to split your time in all these different ways. You know, I did this for a few years and I was able to have success a little bit on that channel and continue to keep this channel growing, but just became way too overwhelming, and there's no way that I could keep up the pace of making multiple videos and do videos on both channels and all of that. I'd rather simplify everything, make it a lot easier mentally in terms of like figuring out what I'm doing, and then really focus on and put the effort into the one channel that makes the most sense. So it took a while to figure that one out and put a lot of time and effort into something that really pulled me away from figuring out, you know, what I should be doing here on this channel. All right, so the next biggest mistake that I've made recently, putting effort into the things I shouldn't be putting effort into. This kind of goes with the whole second channel aspect that I was talking about, but also just different formats. YouTube Shorts. Should you really be doing YouTube Shorts for your goals? Now, I'm not saying shorts are necessarily bad, but I'm not saying they're good either. I actually just did 3 to 8 shorts a day for 2.5 months. And I'm gonna do a video breaking down my thoughts around doing shorts like this. And like, is it really something that you should be doing? For some people, yeah, shorts are great, but for me, it's a big distraction. It doesn't actually move the needle in the direction that I want to go with the kind of content that I want to do and the goals that I have. So I shouldn't even be doing shorts. And so putting all this time and effort into making short form content, whether it's here on YouTube or other platforms like Instagram Reels, does it really do anything for me if I'm making Instagram Reels? Some educators will say that you should be posting everywhere. You should have content on TikTok, on Instagram, and X and all these different places. But I don't think you need to. I think if you have a clear goal, like the things I've been talking about in this video, and you know what you're aiming towards, sometimes you just need to make YouTube long form videos, and that's all you need to do. You don't really need to do anything else when it comes to social media. And the more that I'm in this game, the more that I've been doing this. This is going on 10 years. April this year is my 10-year anniversary. I want to do less of all of these other things. I don't want to spend all of my time on social media. Like, it's just not interesting to be on all these platforms, consuming all this different media. And that rolls into the next biggest mistake, which is consuming a bunch of stuff that I don't need to be consuming. Whether that's watching a bunch of videos and different things that, don't actually help what I want to do. We all have to watch things that we're interested in, of course, but when you're watching things or sitting on X or sitting on Instagram instead of actually working on the next video, during a work day, that is a mistake. And that's something that I definitely want to get out of. I've deleted all the social apps off my phone. I've deleted, YouTube analytics off my phone because I'm tired of looking at YouTube analytics. This is something I did a little while ago because all of that's a distraction. Like, you want to eliminate these distractions. You don't want to be overly consuming, and just the world's not as bad of a place once you actually, come out into the world and do some hiking. Yeah, there's bad things going on in the world, but when we're on social media, it feels like everything's falling apart at all time. Everyone's trying to grab your attention for the next biggest news headline, and there's all this commotion and there's all this division and people are fighting and screaming at each other, and it kind of sucks. Like, it's not fun to be in that space where you're over consuming a lot of the political stuff, a lot of the stuff that's really emotional. Like, it's not a place you want to be all the time. So if that's you, maybe take a step back. Deleting apps is a great way to, quit consuming too much of all that's going on. Also, just thinking about what it is that you actually want to pay attention to. Your time is a currency. You don't want to be spending all of your time consuming media. You want to be hanging out with your friends. You want to be working on the projects that you want to work on. You want to go do the hobbies you enjoy doing. Go do things like be outside in nature. It's really nice to be outside in nature. Now, another big mistake is waiting for the perfect conditions to make something happen. I think a lot of us do this where you're like, oh, I'll get to this video, when these stars align and I'm able to actually, have the time to do it. That's not necessarily ever going to happen. And so I think one of the biggest things is just not waiting. Like, if you have concepts that you want to do, go after them. Like, actually go for it. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. And there's a turkey vulture just circling above me. I wish I had a nice long lens right now. But there's been these different periods where there's challenges that come up, and it's like, oh, I'll get to these videos later. Things need to calm down a little bit. I need a little bit more time, and then I'll get to it. But then new challenges come, and challenges change into different challenges. And, life just kind of keeps getting in the way, and then those ideas just never happen. When I first started this channel, there was a lot of things that I just would make a video on, and I would just go for it. A big thing was mountain climbing. I was really getting into mountain climbing back when I turned 25. That's about when I started to get into mountain climbing. And I would just do these different peaks, and then I would go on a trip to Mexico and climb the tallest peak in Mexico and make a video about it. Or I'd go to Ecuador, go climb the tallest peak in Ecuador, make a video about it. And I felt like there wasn't this filter being put in the way. I just wanted to make, these videos around climbing, and I posted them. I really wasn't caring about the algorithm or anything back at that point. I didn't really understand YouTube. I didn't understand how this worked. And so there was a little bit of that, of just kind of being carefree and just kind of going for it. But also being able to just go after the ideas that you want. It's something that we all need to continue to do. If we have these big ideas, don't say we'll do it later. The perfect conditions might never actually show up, and then you'll never actually move forward. And if you're someone who's on the fence of even starting a YouTube channel, that could be you, where you're just kind of waiting for the perfect conditions to actually start the channel or start making content. And you can guide the ship and change it as you go down the road, or stop doing something because you're not enjoying doing it anymore. It just takes actually moving forward, putting one step in front of the other. But I think the biggest thing that I can pull from these mistakes and kind of what I've been talking about, is this whole idea of like planning things out, not being so reactionary, not just going after every carrot that's dangled in front of me and like go after whatever the newest trend is or the newest camera, or rather, put some more time and effort into planning things, have a little bit longer horizon, and have more of like a plan overall. Obviously there's times where you can be reactionary. I'm not saying don't do it, but what I'm saying is don't only be that way. Have some sort of a goal that you're aiming towards. That's like the biggest thing. Figure out your why, figure out your reason. What are you doing? What's your end goal? At the end of all of this, like, what are you trying to get to? Is it a monetary goal? Is it a personal goal? Is it growth goal? Like, why are you even making content in the first place? Who are you trying to service? And, what kind of viewers do you want to come watch your videos? Having that with a plan of kind of content that you're going to produce will make it so that you don't get burned out, because just being in the rat race, the hamster wheel, making content whenever just ideas come up and not having a plan and just kind of like making videos on a whim, that's the recipe for burnout. And that's when you overstretch yourself, or you're just kind of making content all the time and you never really like take breaks. You're just kind of go, 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 go. I'd love to hear from you. Out of these biggest mistakes, which ones resonate with you? And what are your goals for this year? Like, what's the goal with your channel? Like, what are you planning to do this year that's different than previous years? And what's your ultimate goal? Like, why are you here making content? Now, next, I highly suggest you check out this video right here because, well, YouTube's recommending that you would like this video after watching this one.